Hi, this is the Poetry and Yarn Podcast, episode 3. I'm Lindsay Stevens, knit and crochet teacher, designer, and technical editor. If this is your first time joining us, you should know the video podcast is available on YouTube, while the audio version, along with show notes with links to the things I talk about, is available on the website. That's www.poetryinyarn.com. So it's been a fun week. I taught classes this past week as well as doing some technical editing. One of the classes I taught was a beginning crochet for knitters. And it's always fun as a teacher to come in and show people something new and help them discover something that they're capable and able to do that they maybe didn't realize before. In addition to that, I taught my usual crocheting and knitting for seniors class, and we had fun with that. I also taught my Spanish language crafting class, general crafting class a while back, and we made these beautiful little floral wreaths, which I don't have my sample of anymore, but I'm probably going to be posting a picture of that to the Instagram account. So if you're on Instagram, follow me. I'm Poetry and Yarn, and you'll see all the different projects I do there. In addition to having fun this past week with teaching, I've also had a pretty good mail day. I got my copy of Warm Days Cool Knits from Interweave Press. It's by my friend Karina Ferguson, so I'm going to be talking about that on the blog in the upcoming weeks. Last week on the podcast, we mentioned having a giveaway for a Milk and Honey Lemongrass Lotion Bar. At the end of the podcast, I will be picking the winner for that, and I will be letting you know about a great coupon offer I have for all of you. So, with the emails I got with people entering for the lotion bar, Patty sent me an email, and she mentioned that she's a crocheter who's thinking about learning to knit, and she was wondering if I felt like crocheters could pick up knitting fairly easily. So, Patty, my answer to you is yes. And the main reason I think that is because that's what I did myself. I really firmly learned to crochet and took off with crochet before I got a good handle on knitting. So, from my own experience, here are a couple things with knitting that I think will help you transition from the crochet you love to learning this new craft. So the first thing is, if you're located in the U.S., there are primarily two types of knitting that are going to be taught, either English style or continental style. If you're a right-handed crocheter, you're already used to holding the yarn in your left hand. When you crochet, the left hand is the one that tensions the yarn. Because of that, look for a class that specifies continental knitting, or ask if someone can teach you that method or any other knitting method where the yarn is carried in your left hand. Your left hand is already used to doing that work, so stick with that. Another thing is, when you get your supplies for your new knitting class, a lot of times they'll just specify knitting needles. Now, most people learn to knit on straight needles like this. These straight needles are very long. So to give you perspective, this is my head. I have a large head. These are the knitting needles. While it's totally possible that you may learn to knit on those types of needles, I recommend that you actually start trying to knit on circular knitting needles. Let me grab some here. These are circular knitting needles. These are actually some wooden ones that are pretty small. I'm going to grab the larger ones real quick to show you. Yeah. So these knitting needles are called circs for short, or circulars, because they're used and necessary for knitting in the round. However, you can also use these for just plain knitting back and forth and learning to knit. Now, the reason I recommend these over the long ones, your hands are already used to holding a crochet hook. And a crochet hook is much shorter than those like really ginormous knitting needles. So to give you an idea, this is one of my go-to crochet hooks. And this is about how long it is. Circular knitting needle, about the same length. So if you use a circular knitting needle, the needle section you actually have to hold on to and worry about is about the size of the crochet hook you've already gotten used to. Also, because the cable is flexible, any stitches that go down this area can like kind of flop down instead of being on this rigid piece that you have to accommodate with your arm while you're knitting. So when I knit, like I said, I do all my knitting on circulars. Those are what I recommend. If you've already got a preference from crochet hooks for wooden hooks or metal hooks, you can go with that. For metal, I use my Hiya Circs. If you're interested in plastic, the Denise interchangeable circular knitting needles are great. I actually have a Denise to-go set stowed away with my to-go knitting. So that's fun. But yeah, circular knitting needles come in a wide variety of materials. You can get fixed circulars that have the cord attached, like this one, or you can get interchangeables where you can switch out the cord to make them shorter or longer to fit your project. So yeah, I would say those are my two main hints if you're looking to, as a crocheter, to learn to knit, is try the circular knitting needles and learn continental method or combination knitting or anything that requires you to tension the yarn with your left hand, because your hand's already developed the muscle memory for that, so it'll be giving you a step ahead. Also, keep an eye out. They should mention this your first knitting lesson. In knitting, the yarn overs work the opposite way of crochet. So let me grab some yarn real quick. Whereas in crochet, you go down like that. In knitting, it's the opposite. You go over the needle. So that's like one big thing to look out for. But yeah, you should be able to do it. And I wish you a lot of success. You can try it on your own. You can try it with videos. You can try it with a class. Let us know how you do. Shoot me an email and let me know. But I think you'll have fun. Now, to the giveaway. We've had several entries for the lotion bar. And I'm using the random number generator at random.org to pick a winner. This giveaway is open internationally. I have to kind of specify something that I did not specify before when I mentioned the giveaway on last week's podcast. You are not eligible to win if you're my spouse. Sweetie, I love you, and I'm really honored that you watched the podcast and that you entered to win the lotion bar. And if you want to buy me a lotion bar, I will totally give you a link to the appropriate website. But I don't feel it would be right. I think it would be kind of, the perception of possible impropriety if you were by chance to win. So, sweetheart, I love you, but I've disqualified you from the contest. Okay, to the number generator. Bing! Okay, awesome. So the winner of the lotion bar is Beth G. Beth, you'll be getting an email from me so I can get your address and ship that out to you. Now, I was going to do another giveaway at the end of this episode, but I'm actually recording this on Sunday, which is Mother's Day here in the U.S. and also in Canada. So I thought, instead of a giveaway, let me just do a coupon code. If you go to the Poetry and Yarn Patterns on Ravelry, and I'll include a link to that Ravelry store on the show notes, you can get $2 off your pattern purchase from Poetry and Yarn by using the coupon code MOM, M-O-M. That coupon code is good through the night of Sunday, May 17th. So whether you were gifted yarn for Mother's Day, whether you treated yourself to yarn for Mother's Day, or anything in between, now that you got to pick a project for it, you can have some fun on me. So that's coupon code MOM, M-O-M. Well, that's all for this week. I look forward to talking to you again next week. In the meantime, if there's anything you'd like to hear me talk about, just email me at support@poetryandyarn.com, and make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss out. Take care. Have a good week.